The hum begins softly, almost like the distant vibration of a machine warming up beneath the floorboards of reality. You've felt it before, in those quiet late-night moments when the world becomes still and the mind drifts into questions you usually avoid. Questions like, is any of this real? Tonight, as we wander together into a story that slips between science and philosophy, let that hum grow louder. Let it settle beneath your skin, because what you're about to hear, isn't just an idea. It's a possibility, one that has lingered beneath every heartbeat, every flicker of déjà vu, every strange coincidence that made you pause and whisper, that was weird. Imagine, just for a moment, that everything you know, memories, your dreams, your triumphs and heartbreaks might not be what they seem. Imagine that your world is not the world, but a simulation, a crafted reality, structured with precision, running smoothly like an unseen engine behind your life. And as that thought quietly clicks into place, notice how your chest tightens, as though you've stepped toward the edge of something vast. The idea doesn't shock us because it's absurd. It shocks us because it feels strangely familiar, like a truth we once knew but forgot somewhere along the way. Deep down, maybe you've sensed the universe behaves too perfectly, too mathematically, too much like code. Those little anomalies in memory, those uncanny coincidences, the sense of patterns repeating themselves. What if they're not quirks of the brain, but hints? Hints that reality is more structured than we believe. Tonight, we follow these hints through the simulation hypothesis, not as a documentary, not as a conspiracy theory, but as a story, one woven through physics, philosophy, and the quiet intuition that's been whispering to you since childhood. Let everything outside this moment fall away. Let your breathing slow. Let the familiar edges of your world soften, just enough to consider the unthinkable. The theory itself is simple, and in its own way, terrifying. It proposes that our universe might be a digital construct, created by a civilization so advanced that their technology would resemble creation. With unimaginable computational power, they could build entire worlds, histories, even mind's consciousness itself, just as easily as we create characters inside a game. In their system, galaxies are data structures, atoms are pixels. Physics is code. Yet the most unsettling part is this: the hypothesis didn't emerge from fringe thinkers on the internet. It's seriously discussed by some of the brightest physicists, philosophers, and mathematicians alive, because when they peer into the fabric of the universe, they don't see chaos. They see patterns, precision, consistency that begins to look less like nature and more like something designed. To understand this, imagine how far human technology has come. A few decades ago, our video games were simple shapes and blocky worlds. Now we have simulations so detailed you can get lost inside them, characters with emotions. Whether that feels alive, physics engines calculating every collision and ripple of light. Now, push this thought forward. Consider what humanity could create in 100 years. 1,000. 1,000,000. If we survive long enough, the ability to simulate entire universes isn't science fiction, it's inevitable. Philosopher Nick Bostrom argues that once a civilization reaches this level, they would likely create many simulations. So many that the number of artificial universes would far outnumber the single real universe. Which means, statistically, we are more likely to be inside a simulation than outside one. Here's where the emotional weight sinks in. If the hypothesis is true, then the story of your life, the love, the pain, the dreams, the failures all exist within a crafted system. But strangely, that doesn't make it less meaningful. Our experiences feel real because they are real to us. And maybe, just maybe, that's the purpose of the simulation. But, hold that thought. We aren't here to decide whether life inside a simulation is real enough. We're here to follow the evidence, the cracks in the surface, the scientific breadcrumbs, leading us toward one extraordinary possibility. And one of the clearest clues lies in the universe's smallest building blocks. Physics should be smooth, continuous, elegant. Yet when scientists observe space and time at the tiniest scales, they find granularity. Reality breaks into discrete pieces. Space, time, energy, all appear divided into tiny, indivisible chunks. This suggests the universe has a resolution. And like any digital world, when you zoom in far enough, you see the grid. The smallest known unit, Planck length, is a hard limit. Nothing can exist below it. You can't zoom in any further. The universe simply doesn't render beyond that point. If that feels unsettling, that's because it is. Then there are the strange limits woven into physics. Nothing can travel faster than light. No particle can hold more than a certain amount of energy. These maximum limits resemble restrictions you would impose in a computational system to keep it stable, preventing overflow, preventing the world from crashing. The speed of light behaves like a rendering limit, the maximum speed at which information can pass through the system. And just like in a video game where new areas load only when the player nears them, the universe, too, behaves strangely. Quantum particles do not choose their properties until observed, as if they're waiting for the system to decide, waiting for the render to complete. This brings us to one of the most mysterious experiments in science, the double-slit experiment. When unobserved, particles behave like waves occupying multiple states at once. But the moment they are measured or observed, they choose. They collapse into one outcome. It's as if the universe doesn't bother calculating every detail unless someone is looking. It saves processing power. Observation changes reality. Consciousness influences the system. Whether you approach this scientifically or spiritually, the conclusion is the same. The universe is not passive. It is interactive. It reacts to awareness. But to feel the full emotional impact of this idea, step away from the lab, step into your own life. Think about those moments when time feels distorted faster, slower, inconsistent, or when a memory feels slightly off, as if some detail has shifted. Think about the synchronicities, impossible coincidences that align too perfectly, too cleanly. Most of us brush these off as psychological quirks. But what if they're system adjustments, recalculations, a pet's updating quietly in the background? We don't notice because we're inside it. Characters rarely question the code that generates their world, but sometimes they feel the tremors of something bigger. Now, let's explore a real-world mystery. When scientists mapped cosmic background radiation, the faint glow left from the birth of the universe, they discovered patterns, not random noise, but lines, alignments, structures that suggest a grid, like the scaffolding of a vast computational architecture. And when astronomers mapped the distribution of galaxies, they found immense filaments connecting them, long, web-like strands that look eerily similar to neural pathways in the human brain. The universe behaves like a mind, a thinking system, a living simulation built atop a cosmic network. And so we arrive at the question that has haunted thinkers for decades. If the universe feels designed, what does that say about the designer? Maybe it's not a who, maybe it's a what. Perhaps the creators are not gods, not mythical beings, but advanced life forms. Or perhaps there are future descendants, running simulations of their past. Or maybe consciousness itself is the architect experiencing itself through infinite realities. The simulation hypothesis does not kill spirituality. In truth, it strengthens it. Because if this world is coded, then someone or something wrote the code, and that is its own form of creation. But let's bring this closer. Think of your life. Think of those moments when you felt nudged towards something, guided. Think of the turning points, the stranger you met at just the right moment, the job you almost didn't take but did, the accident that changed everything. In a random, indifferent universe, these moments should be rare. Yet they happen often. Too often, in a crafted reality. In a simulation designed for experience, suddenly, they make sense. Every joy, every sorrow, every challenge feels like part of a curriculum. A narrative built to shape you, to grow you, to wake you up, because if reality is simulated, then consciousness is the player, and players aren't bound by the rules of the world they inhabit. You are not just the character, you are the awareness behind the character, and that gives you power. Meaning isn't something the universe hands you. Meaning is something you create, something you impose on the world. Because even if every atom of your environment were synthetic, there's one thing no simulation can fabricate: the experience of being you, your perspective, your inner world, your emotions, your curiosity. These are real, and they are yours alone. Step in back, see the whole picture, a universe that behaves like code, particles that render when observed, patterns that resemble design, coincidences that feel intentional. Whether we live in a simulation or not, the hypothesis reframes existence. If reality is simulated, then we are participants in something extraordinary. If reality is natural, then it is still extraordinary beyond comprehension. Either way, we exist within something profound, something mysterious, something that invites us to wake up just a little more. So where does that leave us? Should we feel fear, wonder, a quiet sense of awe? Maybe all three. The simulation hypothesis doesn't tell us that life is fake. It tells us that life is rare, precious, that consciousness yours is something remarkable. Engineered or not, you are here, breathing, learning, feeling, growing, and that is miraculous. So the next time déjà vu ripples through you, or coincidences line up with eerie precision, or you feel the universe whispering to you, maybe it is, maybe it always has been, and maybe, just maybe, you were meant to notice. And as you take one last breath in this story, feel the hum again, the gentle vibration beneath reality. Whether this world is simulated or not, this moment, this awareness, this experience, belongs entirely to you.